No, that was Tomasi, right? It was
Yes.
specifically asked about the roster and spending and catching up, and it was specifically about that. It wasn't about anything else. And, boy, when Werner said full throttle, you knew. You just knew at the time this is going to be used against him.
Oh, definitely. Look, it was like instant. You knew right away, like, there it is.
Here we go.
It was like the year that Theo used the term bridge team. Like, that one stuck like freaking glue. People got pissed, and the word full throttle came out. It's like, uh-oh.
So
Here we go.
It's all come up because Werner did an interview yesterday, again, trying to walk that back. And saying that's not exactly what he meant, but when you hear the question, the way it was posed, it was exactly what he meant. And I was going to say Chaim Bloom. What's this guy's name? Craig Breslow.
Same thing.
Breslow did
Same
an
initials.
interview with Abraham of the Globe where he basically laid out and told you, we're not doing anything. He says the conversation probably quickly bleeds into the overall direction of the club, Breslow said. And I don't think it makes a ton of sense to give up some of our prospects for pitchers that don't also come with a ton of control, just given the emergence of this young core around who we intend to build. When he was hired in October, Breslow said he believed ownership was committed to building a contender and would spend what it took to reach that goal. What's his answer now? That's a fair question, Breslow said. And just that line itself, you said yesterday, that packs a lot of punch there.
Big time.
What GM doesn't automatically say, my owner is committed to do everything, and as an organization, we are committed to do everything possible that we can, financially and otherwise, to win championships and bring the best players here? Like, that's just a rote, simple, knee-jerk answer. And so he says, no, that's a good question. That just tells you a lot right there. He says, as I've gotten to know this organization better through the conversations I've had with ownership, they absolutely are still supportive of assembling a World Series team as quickly as we possibly can. But I think the reality is that it's going to require a step forward from the young position players. It's going to require the build-out of a talent pipeline of arms that we can acquire, we draft, and we develop internally. It's going to require aggressive player development in the minor leagues and the major leagues. So guys that we think are the next wave are not just big leaguers, but impact big leaguers. He's just telling you we're not going to do anything.
Exactly. So, again, think of that whole exchange that you just cited. So now they've had time. Do you think they're still going to spend the money they need to? Well, it's going to have to come from the inside. No.
Exactly.
No. He's saying no. They're not going to toss it around like they used to. No.
Is it any wonder why 10 people refuse to take that job now?
No.
Now that this stuff is coming out, like, it's just more of the same. No one was going to be able to do anything.
I mean, seriously, how many times, I would love to know how many times they have been rejected this offseason between executives and free agents. It's got to be 20. It's got to be close to 24. 24 people between executives and players who said to them, thanks, but no thanks. Go pound sand and shove it.
Bill Spiros, who's an obnoxious Boston fan, he writes in the Herald, had an interesting thing that I've been trying to articulate to you, Mazz, about their business thought and their business, the motivation behind the lack of spending. And what you would say to me is, well, if you spend big, don't you win big and generate big revenue? Mm-hmm. And I said to you, that's generally not how companies think. They think just in the reverse. We cut spending and we'll be able to save more and make more by cutting spending than we will by raising spending and raising revenues.
Sure.
It's a quicker, easier path to a better margin. You start with labor costs and you start with trimming costs. And he laid this out, I thought, well. He said the Fenway Sports Group, they've slashed payroll, obviously. They've kept the team below the competitive balance tax and still had 2.67 million paying customers in attendance last season. Mm-hmm. Okay, that represents, Mazz, 92% of fan attendance posted in 2018. In 2018, the team won a record 108 games in the regular season and the World Series with a payroll of $233 million, a massive top 3 payroll. Might have been number 1.
It was number 1 in 2018.
Okay, so in 2018, they won a record 108 games, and they had and the World Series, and they had the number 1 payroll at $233. Adjusted for inflation, that 2018 number today would be $289 million on the payroll. $289. Now, the Red Sox payroll in 2023 last year was $197 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, in 2023, the team cut $91 million in payroll adjusted for inflation, and finished in last place, yet only saw an 8% dip in fan attendance. This is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, right. I get it.
They can't. They're not going to expand Fenway Park, and the cable business, as you've pointed out, is again shot. So they've maximized their revenues. They're much better off on a cash in, cash out basis, slashing payroll by a third adjusted for inflation, but only losing. So they've cut payroll by 30% and attendance is down by 8%. Do the math.
No, I get it.
They make out.
No, I get it. I understand it. I'm just telling you that they're on their way to irrelevancy.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to believe there's got to be some other trickle. Like, does that at all factor in? Like, I would love to know what the revenue numbers were from Nesson in those 2 years.
Yeah, they were probably greater because cable boxes were worth more in 18 than they are in 23.
I mean, so again, and, let's adjust those for inflation too. Like, what if they were making the same sort of money in Nesson revenue, what would it be today?
They're trying to make it up with that Fakakta and that atrocious product, Nesson 360. That horrible product. It is a horrible product. And I'm telling you, as someone who's tried to catch up in the streaming world, this isn't a streaming rant. I've cut the cord. I got a ton of streaming services, as much as I hate them. And so I can tell you, like I told you on our off-air show, that the YouTube TV Sunday Ticket was an excellent product. It delivered for me all season long. It was great. It was worth the money. It worked. I give it high marks. I thought it was going to be a disaster, and it wasn't. It was great. The Nesson 360 product blows. It blows. I can't record games. Kevin, can you record on Nesson 360? I can't even get it to press pause.
I don't have it, but I wouldn't be able to tell you, but a friend has it, and he just complains about it all the time.
It sucks.
And it's also $30 a month.
It's 30 effing bucks a month. It's glitchy.
That's so expensive.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And there's all sorts of glitches on it. Like the weird stuff appears on the screen at weird times. I don't know. I don't think I can record games. I can't go back and watch like on a DVR kind of function. I haven't been able to figure that out if I can. It's a suck ass product. Oh, does it blow?
$30 a month.
And it's a gouge. It's a gouge. They're gouging you.
Disney costs like 10.
Yeah, no,
12.
the most expensive usually like 12, 13 bucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their programming
And they
is
give you
like,
good stuff.
Right. The Disney programming. And
No,
I know
I've told you.
Just because my kids do it. The number of shows and options you have on that is off the charts.
What's Netflix? Like $15?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, right.
And there's a gazillion things that they've produced or someone else has produced. There's just a grotesque amount of content.
Yeah, but you're not appreciating. Nesson's 2.5 times the cost, but you get the Red Sox.
Nesson charges you twice that, and you get that atrocious baseball team and the hockey team that's good, but it's glitchy. You can't record it. You can't pause it. It's a horrible product. It's a gouge.
You don't get it, Felger. 2.5 times the cost for the Red Sox. A good deal.
Oh, my God. It's so bad. Just the whole thing is so bad. It's so greedy. It's so transparent. It's such a gouge on the consumer. So I did get trapped into some sort of rant there on that. That's not my point. The point is,
they're losing money.
and you're still going to the ballpark.
Well, you're not.
I'm talking to you out there.
No.
Car.
You out there aren't.
You're not?
The guy from Toronto and the guy from Texas.
Oh, maybe.
And the guy from Atlanta.
Well,
those guys come into town, and the Red Sox don't give a rat's ass who buys the tickets as
Fair
long
enough.
as someone buys them.
Payroll's down 30%. Attendance is only down 8%. So why would they spend $90 more million, inflation adjusted, when all they're going to get out of that is a few more people in the stands, if that? What's the point? And so that sort of drives that home.
Yeah. No, and they're doing a wonderful job managing their roster on a lower payroll.
Real quick, you got a nugget with the Red Sox that I loved.
So I feel like people keep talking about their farm system, the farm system ranking, and I don't think their farm system's as good as everyone thinks it is. And the primary reason is they have no pitching. So I actually asked the question on Twitter today.
You tweeted who?
I just tweeted in general.
Oh, I see.
I threw a general question out there. In fact, I even put question, : does anybody out there rank the minor league systems based only on pitching? And if so, where do the Red Sox rank?
Meaning, right, so they have the 10th ranked system, but they're 5th in position players and they're whatever in pitching prospects.
Right. In other words, if you don't have pitching, it really is kind of a fake number. Because when you make a deal, what does everybody want?
Young pitching.
Young pitching. Particularly if you want, as Craig Breslow has said, a veteran pitcher who has years of control. Well, if you're going to do that, if you want Dylan Cease from the White Sox, you got to give up a good young pitcher that they have the chance to reclaim Cease with. You know what I mean? Someone who could theoretically turn into Dylan Cease. That's what happened with Chris Sale. They gave up Michael Kopech. Well, I did get some replies.
Oh, so good.
One of which came from Zach Scott, former general manager of the Mets, who was in the Red Sox organization under Theo Epstein. In fact, I was reading his wiki bio, and he's the guy who was credited for identifying Dave Roberts as a trade candidate back in 2004.
Former Red Sox staffer.
So Zach Scott replies, I did some independent work on this and had the Sox ranked 29th in pitching and 3rd for position players.
I love it.
Overall, that worked out to be 13th combined compared to the MLB pipeline and Baseball America.
Whatever.
Okay?
Their pitching sucks.
Former Red Sox front office. Oh, Mazz, I got your answer. 29th or 29th in pitching.
29th in pitching. Murray, how many teams are in the major leagues?
30.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
So I would love to, I don't even care who the other suckbag team is. 29th. 29th. This is the problem. This is the problem. Your minor league system isn't as good as you think it is. So it's good. Wait for Marcelo Meyer. Wait for Kyle Teal. Wait for all those guys. You have nothing coming from the minor leagues in pitching. 0 Jack Squatson. 0.
There's your Red Sox minute. Did you enjoy it? You can mix it
That
in.
was deliberate, by the way. The
Your
Squatson.
Patriots calls. Long commercial-free segment is next.